Hey, hey, let's see who's coming on tonight. Hi, Auntie. Long time no see. So we got a doozy for you tonight. Milligan! Brunch was amazing. I had zero anxiety. I was able to eat all of my food. Well, within reason. I still left some on the plate. And I mean, it was insanely loud in there, and it was insanely busy. But our waiter was amazing, super nice, very attentive. You could tell the poor guy was spread thin, for sure. I mean, he had a million tables, and he was trying real hard to be a good waiter. I could only imagine if we were in there when there wasn't 10 million people. He was probably an incredible waiter. Don't you think, Aunt Candy? We tipped him pretty well because poor guy was hopping for sure. But yeah, the food was super good. And the company was even better. And I loved it. It's great. So right now I'm cutting a mask because we're going to do a double stamp. And y'all know, I don't know if you guys know. I don't know if you know, but I know. I hate Valentine's Day. I am not a Valentine's Day kind of girl. Never have been. Never will be. I don't need a Hallmark holiday to tell my spouse that I love him. But above and beyond that, it's the anniversary of like some major massacres, some crazy stuff. So I'm just not a super duper huge fan of the whole Valentine's Day thing. It just never has done it for me. Also, I don't really like when people buy me flowers. I mean, my dad grows me flowers, and so it's really hard to top that. So, buying me flowers just isn't my thing. Although, I will tell you one time, April Kunzelman sent me flowers that were like, it was like a 3D pop-up flower card thing. It was pretty amazing. And I still have it. And that was pretty awesome. But there's just so much other stuff that I would rather have than wasting money on flowers. So I just don't like it. Not my thing. But if you love love and Valentine's Day is your thing, then tonight it's going to be a good card for you. Although it's going to be a little bit snarky. Because homegirl here isn't into it. So I cut a mask. I left the little tassels off. I left her little wheat sprout off because, I mean, honestly, I can color those no matter what. Then I'm going to take, okay, so the girl is from Howdy. And, hey, Corrine, how are ya? So this is the Howdy stamp set, and I'm using this girl because my cousin just colored her and wanted a tutorial on how to color her. Yes, snarky is definitely how I roll, for sure. Almost like you're my aunt or something and you know me. Weird. So I'm going to color this girl on the request of my cousin. But this is the Cacti stamp set. And, right, snarky is totally the best. You are my people. And I'm going to use this family stamp set because I'm going to use the cacti behind her. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just line up these cacti totally right behind her. Like, No rhyme or reason. I want cacti to stick out on either side of her, so I'm just totally lining them up. Instead of stamping them in black, because I'm using craft paper, I am going to use, oh, we have an Amazon delivery. Hey, hey. I like it. I'm going to use desert sand. And desert sand, this is going to be like craft on craft, y'all. So, are you ready for this? So for a few minutes here, this is going to be a major hot mess. I like how the Amazon people don't even knock now. They just throw your stuff at your door and move on. Aunt Candy, this will give you some really good ideas, though. Not gonna lie. Okay, so see how they're like super light on there? I'm gonna be able to color over like the facial features and stuff to make them kind of fade into the background. So I'm gonna leave it just like that. Normally I would stamp it twice, but I really want to be able to make them fade into the background. So I'm gonna leave them just like that. Now, what I am gonna do is I also need a mask for them because I'm gonna stencil the background. So I'm gonna grab my masking paper, and I know, Milligan, you're probably going like, hey, more masking. Look at these little scraps that I have. That's not gonna help me with anything. Is my bestie here? Hi, Linda. Linda's watching. So I'm going to grab another pack. Yes, I have masking paper at the ready. Y'all should know me by now. And this is all I have left. So I'm going to really have to look into getting some more. But it's such a chore. Listen to me. I'm like, oh, it's terrible to have to order masking paper. First world problems, right? I'm going to wipe this off. And then I'm just going to put these little guys down here at the bottom because it doesn't really matter on the masking paper where they're at. So I'm just going to toss them down here. I'm going to use my tuxedo black so I can see it. Milligan, I swear, every time you log in, I'm masking something. I don't do it on purpose, I promise you. But it just happens. It's like, oh, Milligan's gonna log in tonight, so I guess I better mask something. You would think that's how I did it. I just sprayed this with water, so. Okay. Wipe that off. I'm gonna put it back on here. So I like when stamp sets are versatile. So I am all about using stamp sets for more than what they're intended. You would think that like Western and cacti and stuff is all about summertime or, you know, the heat or whatever. And I'm about to show you some Valentine stuff. So here we go. First of all, I'm going to cut this out. These are my new fussy cutting scissors. I got them at Pear Blossom Press. We love Amanda. She's super duper sweet. These are the remake of the old green handle scissors that you used to be able to get from Fun Stamper's Journey. See how that says enjoy the journey? So these were Fun Stamper's Journey. Notice that I've used them so much that they just fall. Yeah. So these are the remake of it, and Spellbinders makes them. And so Amanda from Pear Blossom Press carries them. And I'm going to tell you, they are super awesome. I used to be a Cutter Bee fanatic. And like I can show you, like, I was a Cutter Bee fanatic. that's just what's handy. That doesn't even show you the ones that I've like tossed over the years because they've gotten so bad and whatever. But Cutter Bee now, their blades are thicker. And like this way. They're thicker this way. And so they're terrible for fussy cutting. They're great for cutting paper, but they're awful for fussy cutting. And so if you order from Amazon and you get a pair of Cutter Bees and the box is all like busted and dented and has a whole bunch of dust on it and it's all funky, you've just won the lottery for reals. Not even gonna lie. Because those particular Cutter Bees are the ones that are like old and from the back of the warehouse, and they are the ones with the thinner blades. If you order from Amazon and you get a brand new pair that's in a shiny sparkly box, or you happen to go to like Hobby Lobby or Michael's and buy a pair and they are in a shiny new pretty beautiful box, it means that you have gotten one of the new pairs of Cutter Bees, and they have thicker blades, and they are just not nearly as good for fussy cutting. So, my deepest apologies. Sandy, are you here? Because I haven't seen you comment. So, if you're here, I would love for you to drop the links in the comments, please, for the stamp sets that I'm using. Also for the craft paper, because tonight we are coloring on Sweet Sentiment craft paper. And I'm so excited because craft paper usually isn't Copic friendly. And our craft paper is. So, links to what? I can do it. Thanks, bestie. Y'all, I had a crazy dream last night where Sandy was leaving me. I woke up crying. I had to talk to her. Thank God she was awake this morning when I first got up, because I was shooketh for sure. And she had to reassure me that she wasn't leaving me. So we're all good. It's so weird when you have crazy dreams like that. So when you cut a mask, pro tip, you have to cut right on the black line. Otherwise you will have a halo around your critters. I am going to share with you guys that Christy, our old artist, injured her wrist and she had to have surgery and all of that kind of stuff. So we don't know if and when she's coming back, but Sandy has picked up the mantle of making all of our stamps now. I'm so excited. And so we have Ledoux Design stamps for the foreseeable future. I'm freaking stoked, you guys. So it's Sandy drawing the images and me creating the sentiments. And that is just what you guys asked for. So, really excited about that. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I like to color first and then stencil. I don't know why. It's just a thing. So I am going to remove this mask so that I can color, and then we'll stencil after that. Okay? Everybody down with that? Well, hi, Cheryl. So I'm going to zoom in for y'all. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, tonight's cocktail, for cocktails and coloring. Yummy, is a Malbec that my husband picked out. And I am generally not a fan of Mulbuck, but he found one that's pretty stinking good. I'm not gonna lie. It is, I don't want that. It is it's kind of tart. Very much has plum. Oh, you just put the website. I was like, what are you doing? I'm not coloring in the planner. It's very tart, but also very dry. So it's kind of a neat combination. Just in case you wanted to know. I can post a picture of the label if y'all want. Okay, so E000. I'm going to start. I like to warm up by coloring hands and arms. Sandy, you should also tag Lena, because Lena really wanted to see me color this. And I'm going to warn y'all, my color may not be the best because, number one, this is my second glass of wine. But number two, I have my contacts in instead of my glasses on. And I happen to have astigmatism, and so my contacts don't correct the astigmatism. So I'm really bringing myself a full plate here. But that's okay. I was going to put my glasses on prior to coloring. Thank you, Sandy. I was going to put my glasses on prior to coloring, and I didn't make it because we just barely finished dinner. So here we are. So y'all will get to see some pretty special coloring. Ooh, look at how dirty that cap is. Sandy, don't look at that. You don't get to see that. Nothing to see here, bestie. Nothing to see here. That one's not as bad. Okay, now I'm going to do her ears and her face. So if you guys have not tried coloring on craft, it's a little bit tough on your brain until you get used to it, only because we're used to coloring on white paper. And so you notice how putting this lightest marker makes the paper super wet, so it turns it really dark. So you have to get yourself kind of over that fading to white scenario, because you're really fading to this brown color. But notice as that marker dries, you get back into that light color. Did you guys see I posted today some photos of behind the scenes from when Sandy did a live last week? When I was there, I took some pictures of her doing the live so you guys could see behind the scenes what it looks like. I feel like I'm talking a lot and nobody... Hey, Rage! I feel like I'm talking a lot and nobody's answering. That's why I like doing lives with my bestie in the room, because then I feel like somebody's talking to me. Milligan, I know you have more to say. Aunt Candy, come on now. You're too busy watching. Well, I appreciate that, but I answer, but forget you can't hear me. Okay, fair enough. That's funny. You're my kind of people right there. How was your breakfast? My breakfast was delicious. I got it was called like Mama Mo's potatoes or something like that. Something very odd. I don't know. But it was hash browns that was mixed with onions and bell peppers. Oh, you were fixing yourself a Diet Coke. Anyways, it was hash browns that was mixed with onions and bell peppers and mushrooms and cheese. And then scrambled eggs on the side. And it was quite delicious. And then I had an English muffin with it. And I always get my English muffin dry because restaurants always put so much butter on it. And so, yeah, that's what I have. Aunt Candy had an omelet that was onion and cheese and spinach. And she said it was delicious. Mama Sherry had, it was kind of like a scramble. No, it wasn't. It was kind of like my potatoes, but they were covered in gravy. And then it had scrambled eggs on the side. No, it didn't. She had eggs over hard fried eggs. However you say it. I don't know. Yes. The parking lot was insane. I had to put my truck in 4-wheel drive in order to be able to park. So that's great. Y'all know I have to do the ripped jeans, right? Cheese and onion, but the latte was wonderful. Yeah, they got lattes. I didn't. I just got coffee because I knew I was going to be drinking a lot. Angela's there. Oh my God. I miss her face. I miss Angela so much. I freaking love her. Sandy, did you ask Angela the question that I needed you to ask her? That we wanted to ask her? Look at me throwing you under the bus. Love you, bestie. Yay! Oh my gosh! I'm so excited. Okay, sorry. I'll calm down now. Freaking love that woman. She's the best. For those of you who don't know Angela, she's freaking awesome and you're missing out. She's so much fun and her personality is as big as Texas. I love it. Sandy introduced me to her, and every once in a while when she's not crazy busy working or laying on a beach somewhere, we get to go out to lunch together, and sometimes she spills her iced tea all over everything. But for the most part, we just have a really good time, and we spend a long time at Olive Garden enjoying each other's company and chatting, and oh my gosh, it's so much fun. I freaking love her. I feel so excited that she said yes. I can't even. You guys will know what that is about in a little while. Maybe like a month. Okay, So there's her jeans that are ripped, and notice that I left just holes in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the skin color, and I'm going to add the shadow into the jeans. Is she at your house, Sandy, or are you still out with her? Didn't you, like, go to lunch with her today? Like, y'all have been together all day? Super jelly. If that's the case, I'm super jelly. All right. So there we go. Now, before, like, I get too super far in this, and now crafting. Oh, and we watched Wreck-It Ralph. Yay! Oh my god, you guys watched my favorite movie, and you're together, and I'm so jealous. It hurts my soul. But I'm happy that you guys get to spend time together. But I'm sad that I didn't get to be there for my favorite movie, and lunch with Angela, and crafting. So I'll be over here drinking my wine by myself. Angela, you owe me. I'm going to color the cacti behind her because the lines on the ink are really faded. And like I said, I have my contacts in, so I really can't see them. So I don't want my eyes to tire out before I color them. So full disclosure, that's why I'm coloring them now. So I'm going to start with YG67. Now, this girl, you guys probably cannot see these lines at all on the screen. And that's okay. But I'm going to color all the way around. Because, so if I take this and set it here, you guys can kind of see what shape I'm coloring. But all I really care about is the outline. I'm not going to worry about anything else because, again, I'm not coloring her as a character. I am now coloring her just as a cactus. So it's going to look like this is what's planted into the ground, and then this is the shape of the rest of the cactus. I am going to leave the flower on top. I'll go put some rum in my Diet Coke and drink with you. Does that? Yes, Milligan, thank you. You are a solid friend. I appreciate you more than you know. Who else? Anybody else having cocktails with their coloring? Anybody else joining me in my I don't get to sit with Sandy and Angela and color? And watch Wreck-It Ralph. It's like a knife right to the heart, right? I mean, at least y'all could have watched like Wizard of Oz or something without me. Of course, I'd still be jealous of that, so what else? Okay, I'm actually going to go back to this, and I'm going to put the shadow underneath where this comes out. Milligan's got my back. Okay. Drank a whole bottle last night, so I'm not ready to drink just yet. Thanks, Auntie. I know the thoughts there. You guys, I just love how craft paper takes the color. It is so neat to watch it develop. And our craft paper is 30% post-consumer recycled. So it's super cool in that it's pretty environmentally friendly. But you can see all of these really cool paper fibers in it. And it's just beautiful. Plus it's super easy on your markers. I'm going to color this flower pink. Oh, did you, Milligan? Wasn't it adorable? I love it. Sandy and I watched it when we were at her house. Ron's Gone Wrong. If you guys haven't seen it, it is amazing. The part where he's dancing on the table with the grandma is the best. It's like my favorite part. And then I sing it. Tiki tiki ta, tiki tiki ta. So funny. It just makes you laugh. And then it's like, it's cute. I don't know. If y'all haven't watched Ron's Gone Wrong. You need to. The pink flower on top is going to make it feel very Valentine's-y. But it's definitely going to be an anti-Valentine's. Rachel, have you watched Ron's Gone Wrong? You need to. Oh, also, a bunch of us are starting True Crime Bullshit over again. So if you are into podcasts and you're into true crime, we are starting True Crime Bullshit over again. And let me tell you how excited I am, because True Crime Bullshit is amazing. It is such a good podcast. So we are starting on episode 1, and then we're essentially doing the book club type of thing where we are going to discuss. But we're not, we're just going to discuss like the seasons. We are not going all in like every episode. But I got Mama Sherry all hooked up with it, and it's free. If you have an iPhone, just click on your podcast app. It's like a purple app that says podcast, so not really difficult to find. It is hosted and produced by Josh Hallmark, and his voice, it's called True Crime Bullshit, because, so it's the serialized story of Israel Keyes. And Israel Keyes was a very, very prolific serial killer all over the United States. And when he gets caught in one of his interviews with the FBI, he's like, I don't want you to put my story all over everything, because he has a young daughter. He has a 10-year-old daughter. Well, at the time she was 10 years old. And so he's like, I don't want you to put my information all over everything, because I don't want her to have to live with the repercussions of the things that I've done. And so I don't want to be on, like one of those shows where they have like all that true crime bullshit. And so that's what he named it, was True Crime Bullshit, because of that interview. So it's a fantastic podcast. Josh Hallmark is the guy. Elizabeth, hey! And like I said, it's pretty fascinating. It is the story of Israel Keyes. He is a very prolific, or was a very prolific serial killer that really nobody heard a whole bunch about. I think because he tried to keep things so quiet, and that was part of his deal with the FBI. But he literally killed everywhere. New York, Alaska, Texas, Sacramento, like a lot of places. This guy killed in so many places. And it's just kind of fascinating to hear. In the podcast, they play a lot of interviews with him. Like a lot. It's very addictive. And those interviews are fascinating because you're kind of hearing it, right from the horse's mouth. And I'm very upset with the FBI agents because I feel like they catered to him way too much. And he thought that he was the bomb. He thought that he could get away with all the things. And, yeah, pretty fascinating. He's very narcissistic, to say the least. And so I've listened to it several times. Julie Giles is listening to it too. So there's a number of us that are listening to it. So if y'all want to, create a group chat, I certainly can do that. It's crazy. It's crazy wild. Okay. So then there's this cactus behind her. So we're going to color in this guy behind her. And then my husband choking to death in the living room. I'm just going to keep coloring. I'm not going to go check on him. That's how you know you've been married for 20 plus years. He's fine. Oh no, he's not alive. He took the coward's way out and killed himself. But he even did that in a weird way. And Josh talks about that in the podcast. I'm all on first name basis with him. And nobody's sad that this dude is gone. Let me tell you. He started, this is a fairly recent scenario too. Right, Aunt Candy? It's not like super old. I mean, it's 90s and 2000s. He was caught in Texas. Because, bless them state troopers, they got him. And, he hid, like, buckets that he would put like guns in that he stole and money. So in between killing people, he would rob banks as to like calm himself down because he had all the extra adrenaline from killing people. And so he robbed a lot of banks and he killed a lot of people. And yep, he would hide his kill kits, and they've only ever found 2 of his kill kits. And, yeah, they've only ever found 2 of them. And he hid dozens, from what we understand. Okay, so now we're going to go back to coloring the girl. I'm going to color her hair. And so the kill kits would have things that, like, he couldn't travel with. So, guns, money from the bank robberies, zip ties and tarps and stuff. And he would, like, go to Home Depot and get buckets to put all of this stuff in to bury. And then once he buried them, it was because he knew that he would, hey Natalie, he would come back. We're talking about true crime stuff, just in case you're wondering, like, why this coloring video has gone off the rails completely. And so he would come back when he planned on taking a life, and he would unbury his kill kit so he already had it ready. So, yeah, very interesting, very prolific, very scary. And there's a lot of people who had, like, run-ins with him. And the problem is that he didn't really have an MO. He didn't have, like, a type of person. Like, he killed old, he killed young, black, white, male, female, couples, singles. Okay, I'm going to color her boots the same color as her hair, because I like to reuse markers. Are you into true crime too, Natalie? I love me true crime stuff. I can't, like, watch TV and color. It's very hard for me. Sandy does it. She's really good at it. But for me, I've found that the visual stimulation, I want to stare at the TV. And so it's harder for me to color because I want to see what's going on the TV. So, I've found that listening to podcasts while I color actually makes me more prolific in getting stuff done. And so I have started listening to a lot of podcasts, and I tend to find one podcast that I like and listen to the entire thing, like all of it. Yes, they have tied him to only 3 murders, and that's the 3 that he confessed to. But there are several more, like 40 something more, that they believe he is the perpetrator too. And that's why the story is so fascinating. Because it's one of those, like, we don't really know, but we kind of know, but we don't really know. It's very odd. It does make you look over your shoulder. You're correct. How do they know it's him? Because he had specific things that he did. So he didn't have an MO as far as, I'm going to give her a black hat, just so y'all know that's what I'm doing next. He didn't have an MO as far as choosing victims, but he did have an MO as far as things that he did. So a lot of times he would, like, come back later and burn the vehicles. He would steal their vehicles so that he could go do the bank robbery, and then he would burn their vehicles and park it somewhere else. He would also abduct people from one state and then kill them in another state and then ditch their body in yet a third state, so that he was crossing jurisdictional lines to make everything very messy. Then, gosh, I sound like such a junkie. But I have watched a lot of stuff on this guy because it's really fascinating. And I've heard several people tell his story, not just Josh Hallmark. Then the other things he would do were very specific as well. He would usually hide his victim's body or place his victim's body in some sort of national forest of some sort or another. He was an avid outdoorsman. And he would also place him near a body of water, or in a body of water, which I know a lot of killers do, but things just add up specifically for his victims. This won't necessarily make you look over your shoulder because he's gone. So this one's a fairly safe one to listen to if you like true crime and then don't want to get really spooked. You know that this guy is gone, so you don't feel like you have to constantly be looking over your shoulder for him. But yeah, he would do weird things like out in the middle of nowhere. He would take a rental car. He would put thousands of miles on his rental cars. So sicko copycat person watching too. The Night Stalker really got into my head. He was creepy. Yes, the Night Stalker was creepy AF, man. That guy was, oof, yeah. So I'm going to color her poncho red because this flower is pink. So I really want to play up the whole, Valentine's-y type thing. So her poncho is going to be red. And this is because Rachel wanted me to do a Valentine's Day card. So wherever you are, Rachel, this is your fault. Just saying. So yeah, it's definitely Milligan. It's something that won't like bug you a ton because you know the guy is gone. And so it's not as bad. But this guy was total creepster from the get-go. Like, everybody who came into contact with him was like, he was a creepster. So, I mean, always just trust your gut. If the dude feels like a creepster, then run, you know, get away. And he didn't, like, pursue people. He was like, he took them and that was it. So, that was the end. So, and then the last one, there was a girl at a coffee shop and he just had to have her and that's what did him in. Yes, Milligan, there are others. There are always others. But at least we're not in the heyday of that stuff anymore. This is Sandy's favorite red marker and I'm going to use it. The 70s was really the heyday of all the serial killer type things. So, as long as you don't hitchhike, Milligan, you're good. Don't hitchhike. You'll be fine. Lock your doors at night and your windows. You're good. But you would not want to listen to Morbid because if you listen to Morbid, you think that pretty much everyone you encounter is a serial killer. And they talk about that, like, walking through the grocery store, you probably meet 2 or 3 people who are homicidal. And it makes you wonder about the world we live in. So there you go. Happy Valentine's Day coloring with Jamie. Right? In the 70s, there was totally something in the water. You are correct, Natalie. I added this extra line just for like movement in this poncho because I feel like it needed a little bit of something on that side. At least 11 victims, Aunt Candy. They're locked during the day too. Yes, we lock our doors during the day. I don't play that game. Our stuff's always locked. Sandy's door's always locked too. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to hang out at her house. All right, there's no reason to take any risk. There's really not. Also, if you see a guy in a yellow Volkswagen that asks you if you want to ride, always say no. Because for some reason, it's the yellow Volkswagens. Just saying. I promise you, if somebody comes up in a yellow Volkswagen, you do not want to ride from them. Especially one that does not have any back seat. Just say it. Oh, look at her. She's so cute. I'm going to make these tassels white, so I'm going to use my gel pen on them. But I forgot this little part right here. Okay. All right. So then what color do you guys think for her scarf? Her little handkerchief. I don't know what color to make her little handkerchief. While you guys decide that, I'm going to color her wheat. Blue? Like her jeans? We could go teal. That would be good. Good call, Milligan. With white dots. It just dawned on me that this right here would be that cactus. Okay, back to my teal. So now that I've thoroughly scared Milligan with all of the true crime stuff, reuse those markers. No, you know me. I have to have 10,000 markers out. I can't function unless I have 10,000 markers out. That's not how I work. If you guys have not seen our brand new planner, I'm going to tell you, the planner is thebomb.com. The more I use it, the more I love it. So FYI, check out the Essentials Planner. You're going to love it. I promise. It is so cool. And when you order it, you get 2 packs. One pack is everything that is printed on coloring paper, so you know you can color it. And I did a video yesterday of coloring it. And the other pack is printed on regular paper, so you can write on it. It is super duper cool. Okay, y'all see this? So we're gonna grab our gel pen. I have my Pear Blossom Press gel pen. We sell these in the shop as well. I put a little pencil thingy on it so I know which one is my good one. And I'm gonna add little dots into her eyes. Just helps add personality. I'm going to add white onto her little tassels. Okay, and there's a little tassel right there. Then I'm going to add white around the rips in her jeans, because you know they always have threads and stuff hanging down. Okay, I'm going to add a highlight on her hat. And I like to just touch it with my finger so it takes that like bold line off of it. I'm going to add polka dots to her scarf, because that's what Natalie wanted. There we go. She's got little polka dots. I know, Milligan, but I'm just saying, it's so cool. You might need it. You can always have it for next year. It's undated. But I'm pretty sure once we sell out of them, that's it. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab my masks. And I'm going to put them right back on. Why? Because we are going to stencil this bad boy. Now, I don't want the stenciling to be like, boom, in your face. I want it to be, thanks, Cheryl. Cheryl, do you listen to podcasts? I know you have a lot of time that you spend. So I was just wondering if you listen to podcasts. Might be something that would help you pass the time. occupy your mind. Keep it off the pain. Okay. So I have this all masked off. And I have 10,000 markers on my desk, so you guys are going to have to be patient with me for just a second. I'm going to zoom out. You don't? Oh, Cheryl, girl, you're missing out. Do you have an iPhone? Or some other kind of phone? If you don't have an iPhone, so iPhone has an app that is called Podcasts. I'm creeping you out. No, I just mean like all other kinds of podcasts. It's all good. It doesn't have to be that one. Jeez, Milligan. I'm going to use the lovely mandala. So if Rachel or Sandy, if you want to post the link for the lovely mandala, that would be fantabulous. I'm going to go grab a couple of brushes. So Cheryl, your iPhone has an app for podcasts. If you don't use the app, well, maybe I'll do pinks. I'm going to do brown and pink. Raspberry. Saltwater taffy. Gathered twigs. Brushed corduroy. Okay, found the floor. If you don't have an iPhone, you can use, there's an app called Wondery, and they do the podcast for free as well. So, picked raspberry is my first one. Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate you. Saltwater taffy is my second one. I like it because it's a little bit peachy, so it's going to lean into these browns well. Brushed corduroy is number 3. And then gathered twigs is number 4. Elizabeth, they creep you out? I know, I'm just weird. It's fine. So the reason I chose Lovely Mandala is because it has the hearts in it. And if we're going towards Valentine's, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I just realized I didn't put my stamp back. Oh, this was another stamp. Apparently I was going to use this one and I didn't. So there we go. Okay. So new in our shop, we have these really cool ink holders, ink pad holders. Mine has green on the bottom. Yours will not. It has whatever color Dale put on the bottom of them. But they sit on your desk and they don't move. They move like just a very little bit. So it's much, much easier to get your ink out of them. The last color I used with this is blue. I'm not worried about washing it off because I'm not worried about any of that stuff. It's not super sticky anymore, so I'm going to grab my pixie spray. This stuff's hard to get your hands on now, so if you see it, grab a couple bottles. I usually spray it over my trash can so that the sticky stuff does not go onto my floor. It goes into my trash can. And I'm going to line this up. That was not a good lineup at all. Okay, and then, thank you, Rachel, you're right on it. I'm going to use my espresso to kind of stick that down, make sure it's well adhered. And then I like to, as a double insurance plan, use my magnets. Okay, so I'm going to color from here this way with my inks. So I'm going to start with picked raspberry. I always like kind of dot it on this off of the paper on the side. And you will notice with craft paper, it takes a little bit more ink than with white paper. Okay, done with picked raspberry. So now I'm going to use saltwater taffy. And I will highly suggest to you, if you plan on using your inks a lot with craft paper, you might want to swatch them because they look very different. The colors are very different on craft than they are on white. I'm not using a lot of pressure on my brush. I'm just holding it like this and brushing it on. I do suggest washing your brushes quarterly at least. If you don't use them a whole lot, then maybe, like twice a year. I don't put a lot of ink on my brushes. Notice there's not very much ink that penetrates the brush. So I tend to go a lot lighter on my ink. But yes, I do highly recommend washing your brushes every now and again. I use Dawn dish soap and one of those brush cleaner plastic thingy bobbers. That's a technical term, in case y'all didn't know. And that's what I do to clean them. And then the other thing to note with your brushes is they are curved. If you look at the edge of this is curved. So you don't want the water to run into your brush because that'll corrode the glue that's in there and you'll start losing hairs from your brushes. You want to dry them like this. So I just take like clothespins and I clip them to the counter so that this is over the edge of the counter like that, so that they can dry face down. If you set it on the counter like this part will flatten out and you won't get good clean brushes anymore. You'll get streaks in your ink. So take all that for what it's worth. Okay, so I did those. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my water bottle and I'm gonna spritz it just a little bit because I wanna add some interest to these. And when you do this, make sure that you're not doing like a full pull. If you pull the trigger of this, you'll get a smooth blast of water. If you do short pulls where you only kind of pull it a little bit, Natalie, I always dry them overnight. If you do a short pull on this, you get those bigger spots. And that's what I'm looking for. Then I take a tissue. And notice I let that sit for just a minute so that it has time to interact with the ink. And I take a tissue and I dab this all off. Now, Holly the other day had done something super cool with a stencil and I told her that it inspired me and I wanted to do it. So I'm going to do that now and I'm going to show you this really cool technique. Okay, so I have this super duper big stamp and it's just writing. This is from Hero Arts, but you can use literally any sentiment stamp for this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take, and this is weird because I'm gonna mix inks, so I don't normally do this, but it's just a thing for me right now, is I'm gonna just kind of blot this with the black ink from Memento. I'm going to set it over the top. And I'm going to push it down with my hands. So I normally would use my espresso, but I don't want to do that because I don't want perfect stamps. And I'm doing this over the top of the stencil, so it's not all going to be perfectly pretty, okay? Then I'm going to do it again, and this is the part that I said, you know, is kind of weird. And I'm going to do this with the darkest color of Distress ink that I pulled out, the Gathered Twigs. And again, I'm going to line this up on here. Again, it does not matter if they're off-centered or whatever. But I want the brown and the black, and I want them to all be in the background, all kind of funky. Okay? Super cool. Then, I still want my Gathered Twigs ink pad because I'm still going to do some stuff with it. But then, my favorite part, I'm going to pull the mask, or pull the stencil. Now, I am going to wash this because this is funky, so this is going to get washed. And I'm going to take my Gathered Twigs brush, and I'm going to go around the outside. And this is to just kind of tarnish the outside and make it look like it's finished. I don't like raw edges. These ink holders, y'all, these are the freaking best. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, yeah, cool, great, another thing to put on my desk. And now I'm like, I can't live without it. I want one of every color. Okay, so I did that. Set that aside. Now, I'm gonna take this because I have this big old mess here. And I'm going to clean that up. Did I lose y'all, or are y'all still here? You guys hanging tough with me? All right. Now, one of my favorite parts ever. I'm going to pull the masks. I like to save my masks, so I'm going to be very careful about pulling them because I like to use them numerous times. And since I spritzed this and it got a little bit wet, I have to be really careful not to rip it. But it'll dry and you can use it again. And then I take my mask around the outside. Thank you, Milligan. You make me happy. Thank you, Rachel. You're my kind of people. Do you Trailer Park Girls go around the outside? I can't not sing it. I'm sorry. It's just a thing. As soon as I say around the outside, it's just how it works. Okay, now the big reveal. Are you ready? Oh my gosh, look at how cool that is. So now I have masks ready for next time. So I won't have to cut them for Milligan. Okay, so now that I have this, we need a sentiment, right? I mean, how do we not have a sentiment? Come on now. So I was gonna use Hey There, Cowboy, but we could do Looking Sharp. What do you want? Thumbs up for Looking Sharp, or hearts for Hey There, Cowboy? Thumbs up for Looking Sharp, or hearts for Hey There, Cowboy? Mash the buttons. What up, sucker? I'm going to go grab my, uh-oh, it's pretty even. Oh, there's lots of thumbs up. Milligan's pushing the thumbs up, so she wants looking sharp. What up, sucker? I'm going to grab my embossing stuff. I'll be right back. All right. So looking sharp? Is that what y'all want? So I'm going to grab my Misty. And my magnet's stuck together, so pray for me. Let's see how well it fits. I just set the stamp set aside. That's going to be awesome. I like it. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my embossing tool. And you don't have to put this much on here. I'm just overzealous. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. You're fine. Everybody's fine. I'm going to use my Versamark. And this is where I do double stamp. So my espresso. And then I'm going to stamp again. Aunt Candy, are you still there? Are you mesmerized? Now you guys know why it takes me so long to make a card, because I put so much crap on it. Okay. I'm going to cover this up. I'm going to pull this out without touching the paper. I'm using white embossing powder. I have the Lawn Fawn embossing powder because it's my favorite white embossing powder. I tap it on the paper so that it settles into that embossing ink. Okay. If I notice that I missed anything, I'll put it on there again. And then I always put the lid right back on before I do anything else, because I will spill this everywhere. Like literally everywhere. Okay, so then the next thing you need to do is you need to warm up your embossing gun. Don't just take your embossing gun and put it on there, because the cold air will dry that ink and it will push all of your embossing powder away. So make sure your embossing gun is warm. And I always test it on my hand. When it's too warm to hold on my hand, that's when I know it's ready. I try to stay right above it, and I move around. The secret to super smooth embossing is to flip it over and emboss the back side too. And then let it sit for a second before you do anything else with it. Okay. So I already have a card base ready and a mat ready. Just going to dry that to make sure that it's all good. cool. Thank you. I'm going to grab my Barely Art glue with my cutesy little glue pen. The secret to the glue pens is to pull them very gently to make sure that your nozzle is clear. And I'm sorry, no, I'm not going to do it. I always want to round the edges. I'm not going to lie, I kind of like this card. Rachel, this is your fault. Okay, so then I line this up on the matting paper. Notice this paper's a little bit wrinkled and stuff. You can see how it's wrinkled. When you set it down and use your espresso, you can take care of all of that. See, now it's not wrinkled. You love your espresso? Jessie, I didn't even see you on here. Thanks for joining me tonight. Okay, again, I flip this over. It does sound like a dog panting. Archie's not even in here, Milligan. Barry's watching UFC fights, so Archie's with Barry. You do take responsibility. Okay, so I have that. Now, y'all know, stamp my card, sign my card. Okay, then on the inside, since I don't have extra paper because I wasn't using paper, I'm going to line up this little heart. Since I wasn't using paper, since I wasn't using designer series paper, I'm going to grab my gathered twigs and I'm going to try to not do something terrible here and get ink everywhere. But I'm just going to lightly brush this so that it has a little decoration. Okay? So there's that. Wipe this off because now it has stencil on it. Okay, now y'all know what's coming next. I gotta have dots. It's important. Dots are so important. So I'm gonna use these black ones because I feel like they would make a great highlight. And I'm gonna do them in groups of 3. So 1, 2, 3. One. Ooh, that one went flying. 2, 3. And then my last one I'm going to put down here. 1, 2, 3. My cards tend to follow the Fibonacci circle. So as it comes in, it gives your eyes something to look at, something to look at, something to look at. That's the hole on her jeans. Something to look at, the sentiment. Something to look at, the other hole on her jeans. Something to look at, the dots. And something to look at, her face. So it goes in and spirals into the center. So my cards all generally follow the Fibonacci circle so that they are evenly balanced. But there you go. That is our non-Valentine's-y Valentine's card. I hope you guys like it. I ordered this off of Vistaprint. I ordered these off of Vistaprint. Very inexpensive. So there you guys go. Mixed media and all. How fun is that? Thank you, Cheryl. Thanks, Jessie. Thanks, Auntie. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Elizabeth. So much fun. So don't be afraid to stamp your stamps over the top of one another because you can come up with some really cool things. Notice I stamped her in black so it pops her forward. I stamped these in no lines so it puts them back. Then I added all the fun stuff in the background, and what you would think would be a complete hot mess was actually kind of cool. I stamped this and embossed it in white so that would give a little more contrast, and all in all, it's a pretty flat card. So, Sandy, I hope you like this. Is this one you want for the board, or is this one I can send out as a birthday card? Let me know. It is sideways, and I know we don't have a lot of sideways cards. But anyways, guys, thank you for joining me. I should be on, aw, Jessie, that's so sweet. Thank you. I should be on tomorrow morning again at 10 a.m. So we're going to do coffee and coloring. I have no idea what I'm going to be coloring. So, stand by for that. And a million dips. And so, yeah, that's everything tonight. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Toodles.